Hey everyone, welcome to Ananyachintanaa. I am Rajesh Lohit. In my previous video, I explained about the Sade Sat. When does it come and how to find it? Today, I'd like to share the information about the different phases of Sade Sat. If you don't have much information about the Sade Sat, please watch my previous video. Let's come to the point. The different phases of the Sade Sat affect the different areas of our life. It may be positive or negative, depending upon the Lagna chart strength and the Astakavarga points. I'll explain the way to analyze the results of Sade Sat in my next video. For now, we'll consider on the different phases of Sade Sat. Before deciding the results, one has to check and decide the time frames of each phase. So what do I mean by it? So consider the chart. In this chart, the moon is sitting in the Purva Bhadra nakshatra and the degree is 20. To decide the time frames of the each phase, one has to check the degree of the moon to calculate the time period of the each phase. So the degree here is 20. Take the moon's degree and then add 45 degrees to it. The result is the end degree of the Sade Sat. Again, take the moon's degree and subtract 45 degrees from the moon's degree. The result is the starting degree of it. So now we have got a 90-degree frame. Divide this 90-degree frame into three parts. So these are the first phase, second phase and the third phase of the Sade Sat. In this particular chart, the first phase starts only after Saturn crosses the 5 degree of the sign Capricorn, and the Sade Sat ends only after Saturn crosses the 5 degree of the Aries sign. That is the 90-degree frame for this particular chart. Now I will speak about the first phase of the Sade Sat. So in the first phase of the Sade Sat, the Saturn will be sitting in the 12th house from the moon. From 12th house, he aspects the second house with his third aspect, and then he aspects the sixth house with his seventh aspect, and he aspects the ninth house with his tenth aspect. We also have to consider that he is sitting 12 places away from the moon, that is 12 places away from the first house. So he also brings out the problems related to the first house and the 12th house as well by sitting in the 12th house. By analyzing the strength of the Saturn and the strength of the moon with the help of Astakavarga, and by also analyzing the Sarvastakavarga, we can come up with predictions which might be negative, positive, or maybe neutral as well. In my next video, I'll explain how to analyze the Sade Sat with the help of these points. Let us now discuss the problems related to the second house, as Saturn will be looking into the second house with his third aspect. If the bindus provided for the Saturn is less than 3, then the results may be quite negative. Now I'll discuss the negative issues people generally face during the first phase. So these are all the worst case results. So the worst result for the native can be losing a family member as Saturn has aspect on the second house. There could be some problem related to the eye, especially the right eye. The aspect on the second house may also affect the financial position of the native by increasing the wasteful expenditure. This is because Saturn sits in the 12th house and increases the wasteful expenditure by looking into the second house. Let us consider a situation where the native undergoing this phase is a young boy and the Sarvastakavarga, Pinnastakavarga for moon and the Saturn are very less, very poor. Then he might try to steal money or make money in wrong ways to satisfy his needs, but later he'll have to pay for that. Saturn will definitely teach him a lesson. The same native may even become financially stable if the bindus are more than 3, but it takes time as Saturn is too slow. Other problems related to the second house can also occur, and we as an astrologer should be able to predict other problems as well. Let us now consider the sixth house related issues, as Saturn will be looking into the sixth house with his seventh aspect. As I said earlier, I'm discussing only the negative results for the worst case with poor Astakavarga scores. So because of the seventh aspect on the sixth house, it can cause some debts. One can also come out of debts if the results are positive. The native may have to go through the change or obstructions in career, as sixth house is considered for service based jobs. And finally, because of the 10th aspect on the ninth house, It can bring down the general fortune or what we call the luck of the native, and can also cause setbacks to the father of the native. An astrologer should be able to predict more negative or positive results related to the second house, the ninth house, the sixth house, and the 12th house, including the first house. The 12th house because Saturn is sitting in the 12th house, and the first house is because Saturn is sitting 12 places away from the first house. Now, I will discuss the second phase of the Sade Sat where Saturn will be sitting with the moon. This is one of the toughest phases of the Sade Sat because during this phase the Saturn transits the moon and the nakshatra the moon is sitting in. This means if the nakshatra the moon is sitting in is Shatabisha nakshatra, then Saturn at some point of time will cross this Shatabisha nakshatra. During this phase, he aspects the third house and he aspects the seventh house and he also aspects the 10th house. Be sure to remember that he will be sitting in the first house, which is 12 places away from the second house. So, what are all the worst case results of this phase? This affects the native's personal life and health because Saturn is sitting in the first house. It can result in humiliation, loss of self confidence, and self respect because Saturn is sitting in the Rashi with Moon. So he is going to trouble the Moon. During this phase, the popularity may increase if the results are benefic. One may even become a public celebrity. Separation from brothers or sisters due to the aspect of the Saturn on the third house. Trouble in married life due to the aspect on the seventh house. Obstructions in professional life due to the aspect on the 10th house. These may be the worst case results. An astrologer should be able to predict the negative results related to the third house, the seventh house, and the 10th house, including the first and the second house. Now, I will discuss about the third cycle of the Sadesat. During this transit, the Saturn will be sitting in the second house from the moon. So now we have to check the aspects of the Saturn. He'll be looking into the fourth house, the eighth house, and the 11th house. Be sure to remember that he is sitting 12 places away from the third house and he is sitting in the second house. So, this kind of combinations may even cause death if it comes in late life, as the 2 and 8 combinations are active. But for this, we need to check other conditions of the horoscope. The 8th house aspect of the Saturn may cause loss of money, more expenditure, loss of health, sudden ups and downs, and unexpected events. The aspect on the fourth house might cause unhappy domestic life, mental distress, loss of materials, and many more. It can also bring up the troubles related to the 11th house. An astrologer should be able to predict the negative results related to the second house, the third house, the fourth house, the eighth house, and the 11th house. So, to sum up, if we need to predict anything about any phase of the Sadesat, we need to check the aspect of the Saturn, that is 3, 7, and 10, and then the position of the Saturn, and then the next house from the position of the Saturn. This is because Saturn is sitting 12 places away from this house as well. So we need to consider 5 houses while predicting the Sadesat. In my next video, I would like to explain what is Sarvastaka Varga and what are these Binnastaka Varga and the points that has been provided to the Saturn and the Moon. Some people say that if the Moon is positioned well, the Sadesat will be good. It cannot be true for all the cases. So I am going to explain all these facts in my next video. I'll explain about the Sarvastaka Varga and the Binnastaka Varga and the way to analyze the strength of the Saturn and the way to analyze the whole Sadesat and its results. If you like this video and the way of explanation, please do like and subscribe. Thank you.